Hello, making a video with pink clay, which represents love, and we all need it. All living beings deserve love and petting and kissing, non sexually, in parentheses. I make this very clear because real love is not sexual. Okay, so it often ends up to be, in some kind of intimate relationship. There are even men out there who have a relationship with their pony. It is the truth. So men that where it didn't work out with the women, and they had a pony and they loved the pony and it became sexual for them, not for the pony, and I think that's wrong. I think that's ethically wrong. So, because the horses are not made for that, for interspecies intercourse, they get STDs. I'm not kidding. This is real bad. And it's not consensual, the animal never said, yes, do it. So, everything on the internet is sexualized. Everything in the human species is sexualized. Sex has become that's like the most important subject for most humans. So there's a very small percentage of humans who are sick of this and who actually became recluses because of that, because they see everything being sexualized and sex being pushed and women are being forced and before they're even feeling safe, and girls are forced into it by boys, and you see it all the time. It's So my first sexual encounter was when I was 16, and my boyfriend was only 2 years older than me, and he didn't force me, so that was good. He let me be in charge and stuff. But in most cases, I see it all over the place in the world. Women are forced, when they don't feel comfortable. And for a woman to get in the mood, it takes a while. It particularly for women who are highly sensitive and who feel very vulnerable psychologically. It takes a while, to trust someone, to really trust someone, and feel like he's not gonna judge me. He's not gonna judge my belly fat. And I've always my whole life I had the problem was I always felt like my boyfriend is judging my belly fat, and they weren't. They liked it. So, but I felt psychologically vulnerable about it because I grew up in the era of haute couture skinny women, so the skinny women era, and the the Barbie doll woman that was declared as politically correct, and it still is, but we're getting into the era of choppy now. So finally, but it took a long time, but it was bound to happen because obviously that is what most men like, but they don't admit it to the public. They wouldn't even admit liking a woman who's just slightly overweight. So there's only a few percentage of men who admit that they like bigger women. So, and then there are men who like, or there are men who sexualize all kinds of things. Yeah, I've seen it all. There are men who sexualize their cars. I'm not kidding. Yeah, it's true. I've seen it. Look it up. But there are men out there who have sex with their ponies, and I think that is absolutely wrong. I understand though that they feel this intimate connection, but why does an intimate connection have to become sexualized? That is my question. So, it's just impossible for me to put my mind into this, because I could never sexualize an animal. Never. An animal, a being from another species is a being I feel protective of. Those are all my children. Those are my babies. I feel when I see the deer. I was sitting out there on the grass today in the sun, and the deer was sitting about 20 feet away from me, and it felt so good. It felt so peaceful. And I talked to him or her, I don't know, it's probably a girl. I did, the boys, they get the horns on the forehead. So very rarely do I see a little deer buck baby, a baby boy deer. Very rarely I saw a baby boy deer. I made videos about him on my old channel, Nikki Daisy Redwood. The videos are there. You can see him. He's playing with my papa dog. That was last summer. And a hunter probably shot him, because I've never seen him again, and I heard the gunshots at night. The hunters, they go out there into a residential area and shoot deer at night, even though it's against the law. And nobody says anything. Nobody. Because most people don't care. And it makes me infinitely sad. And I know the sheriff doesn't care. They don't care. If I called there, he would laugh in my face if I called. I already know, so it's all infinitely sad. And then I wouldn't know I don't know who that was. I can guess. There's one real mean person. He was beating his dog, and that was a couple of years ago when we had Kenny, the Great Dane, and I was out there with Kenny, and I heard that guy beating his dog, and his dog was screaming, and I screamed from the top of my lungs, what's going on down there? And then he stopped beating his dog. And then he was sneaking up the hill to look at us, to look at who it was. So, and I didn't care. I didn't care if he was coming up there, and even I don't even care if he shoots me. I'm not gonna tolerate that. I don't tolerate violent behavior. I can't. There's no way I can. No way I can ever just sit there and let something like this happen. With the gunshots, I was upstairs, and I heard the gunshots coming from down the street, and there was nothing I could do to prevent that from happening. Several gunshots, and I had the feeling that he got that baby buck, the baby deer boy, But I was able to, and I knew psychically, I knew I have this strong intuition when I saw the baby boy coming into our garden playing with the papa dog. I knew that his mother and sisters probably had been shot and that he was alone. And I could see in the way he was standing there, I just could see the energy field. I could see that his life was definitely at risk. I could see that he wasn't going to live for very long. It was just a couple of days later when he got shot. The way he was standing there, hanging his head low. He wanted to get closer to the papa dog because he felt like he could relate to the papa dog, because the papa dog has 4 legs like he does, and his body, his coat was a little bit similar to the fawn coat, so he thought that was like a brother, you know. The papa dog was so excited to see the deer, and they went and they came closer to each other, and then papa dog got excited, and the deer, and he jumped up and down. That's what dogs do when they get excited. And the deer jumped backwards, and then the papa walked away, and then the deer came forward again towards the papa, and they went like this, like a dance, back and forth. It was very sweet. So I feel very close and very intimate with the animals, and there's no need to interpret anything sexual in it. And that's what people do on the internet all the time. I tell people, on Facebook, I had just like a couple of days before the papa had a stroke and died. Just a couple of days before, I made such lovely photos with the papa dog. And in early December 2019, and the papa was sitting up, and he would always sit up like an Easter bunny, and I made photos with him, and I hugged him like from behind. I put my arms around his belly and my face against his face, and there were such lovely photos, and I put them on Facebook. I don't use Facebook anymore. It's just too heartbreaking what I see on Facebook. I see so much cruelty that's sent to me in form of bragging. That's how different the human brains are. So, but there was one guy who said to me, a Muslim man also, who liked me, and he saw the photo of me holding the papa dog, and he said, with the finger like this, the finger icon, and he said, "Your boyfriend." So I gave him a thumbs up for that, and I sent a smiley face, because at least he was at least saying something to recognize, my close relationship I had with the papa. And so, but it was not a sexual relationship, okay? So, yeah, but they always think if it's close, it must be sexual in nature, and it isn't. So, just wanted to make that very clear, and I wanted to show love, to the world. Love for everybody, We all deserve love. We all deserve hugs and kisses, non-sexually, and we deserve love without having to give something back. Okay, you got